Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, we're going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings and Yahoo for Thursday, February the 18th. Now, we got a really short slate for this Thursday, just a short little three-gamer tonight, so should be a pretty quick video, shouldn't have too much to talk about. We're going to go through each game, break down this slate team by team. I'll give you guys my early thoughts, what does stand out to me, looking at each team. Looking at each team on the slate the night before. So before we get started with the breakdown, guys, as always, I'd appreciate it if you would hit that like button down below. If you are new to the channel here, be sure to click that subscribe button as well. Click the notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. You also get notified every time I do go live. I will be live streaming this afternoon for tonight's slate, even though it's a short little three-gamer. I will still be going live this afternoon, breaking down the slate, answering all your guys' questions. If there's any news that comes out throughout the day, we can touch on all that in the live stream. So if you're able to tune in Thursday afternoon, I will be live probably around 4:30 Eastern time, given that we have a 7:30 lock tonight. But yeah, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, check out my Patreon content, link down below in the description as well. If that's something that does interest you, I do have additional content over on Patreon. But we'll start off with the Toronto and Milwaukee game. So we have one game starting at 7:30, and then we have two late night games starting at 10 o'clock. So we'll start off with the Toronto and Milwaukee game. So this is definitely probably, in terms of injury news, the biggest injury update or injury news to watch in this game is the status of Kyle Lowry. That obviously impacts a ton here if Kyle Lowry does not wind up playing. Normally, the Raptors are not a team I really look to target when they're fully healthy. Like VanVleet, Siakam, Lowry, I haven't really played much this season, especially not on full slates. But obviously on a three-game slate, we're really limited when it comes to options. So I think VanVleet, Siakam's, Lowry, if he plays, I think all these guys are definitely viable on the slate. Obviously, if Lowry is out, that is going to make VanVleet and Siakam much better plays. And I think VanVleet and Siakam overall would probably be two of the best plays on the slate. If Lowry does wind up out, if Lowry does play though, I still think all three of these guys are viable. I think if I had to choose one, my favorite would still honestly probably be Lowry, especially if we don't get an update on Lowry. Like if we don't get word on Lowry till maybe an hour or 30 minutes before the game starts, I mean, he's going to be pretty low owned, probably lower owned than he should be on a three-game slate. So if Lowry plays, I think of the three big Toronto guys, he's my favorite. If Lowry is out though, VanVleet, Siakam are both great plays today. Now, Norman Powell, he did actually start last game, even with OG Anunoby back. They moved Pascal Siakam down to center, and they kept Norman Powell in the starting lineup. If Norman Powell starts again, I assume if Lowry were to be out, Norman Powell would start. But, if Powell is still in the starting lineup, I think he's viable. He's not like a top play. His price is way up there at 6,400. With OG back, I mean, that's a little bit of a downgrade for Powell. But if Lowry were to sit, that would be, an upgrade for Powell. It would bring him into play for me at 6,400. Chris Boucher, his minutes have been all over the place. He did get 30 last game in this same matchup, which is obviously good to see. Maybe with Siakam starting at center, if they decide to do that again, maybe that's beneficial for Chris Boucher. He did play a lot more than Aaron Baines did. It's the same matchup, so you would think, if they gave Boucher 30 minutes the last time these teams played, they'll probably do it again. I think if we're going to get 26, 28 minutes from Boucher, at 6,300, he is definitely viable. Is he a top option for me? I don't think so, but still would be in play for tournaments. I'd assume he's probably going to be lower owned. Even on a three-game slate, Boucher should be pretty low owned today. Now, OG Anunoby, I think, is actually viable. Normally, this is someone I don't like playing because he's not a great point-per-minute player, but I assume he'll be back to playing his normal minutes. He got 27 last game in his first game back from injury, but, he had a couple days to rest up. I'd assume we're going to get at least probably 30 to 32 minutes from OG. When he's back to full strength, he should be playing 35, 36 minutes. I don't know if we're going to get that, but I think, over 30 seems pretty likely. If Lowry were to sit, that'd be a little boost for OG. Really, that'd just be a boost for all these guys. Siakam, VanVleet, OG, Powell, they all get a little bump if Lowry were to sit. So do have interest in OG on this short slate. Now, in terms of the punt plays from Toronto, I don't know if I really want to go to any of these guys. We'll have to wait and see what the Toronto starting lineup is. If Lowry does wind up out, I doubt they're going to start Terrence Davis. We've seen before this year when Lowry has missed games, they just, they'll slide Fred VanVleet over to point guard, and then they'll let Norman Powell move into the starting lineup. I'd assume that's what they do today. If Terrence Davis were to surprisingly wind up starting in place of Lowry, he would be probably the best. He'd be the best value play on the slate, but I don't expect that to happen. And if Davis comes off the bench, which I assume will be the case, even if Lowry sits, I really don't have any idea how many minutes Terrence Davis would play. We've seen even in games this year when Lowry has missed, Davis has only played maybe 15, 16 minutes. I don't think I can go there. He's probably going to be low owned. Even if Lowry's out, I'd assume Terrence Davis is still going to be pretty low owned. You could take a shot on him in GPPs, but I really don't like any of these bench guys from Toronto. I think, I'm just going to be sticking to the main guys, basically till you get to OG. I don't really have interest, even in Aaron Baines. Last game, he only played 18 minutes off the bench. Tough to really trust him, especially given they preferred to give Boucher more minutes last game. So I think that really does it for Toronto. Obviously, the Lowry injury is really big and one we're going to have to keep an eye on heading up to lock. But moving on to the Milwaukee side. So Milwaukee, we got to keep an eye on the stats of Drew Holiday. I believe he's questionable. They suggested over the Nuggets victory that Holiday was ruled out ahead of the contest. So we really don't have an update on Holiday. He tested positive for COVID like a week ago. I assume he's still going to be out. I think, he's got a little while before he comes back. I don't know if Yahoo's posting an update on their page. Let me see real quick. So let's see. Drew Holiday, he's out again Tuesday. Okay, so Drew Holiday is going to remain out. I wasn't aware of that, but Drew Holiday will remain out for this game. With Drew Holiday out, that obviously is going to benefit Giannis and Chris Middleton. These value guys, these fringe guys from Milwaukee, I haven't really been playing lately. I don't know if I really want to go to any of them on this slate, even though it is, a short 3-game slate and we don't have a ton of options. I still don't know if I really want to target guys like DiVincenzo. I mean, DiVincenzo probably would be the guy I'd go to. He's going to get probably 30 to 32 minutes. He's viable at 5,400. Bobby Portis, I mean, he's going to be productive when he's on the floor. You never know what the minutes are going to look like for Bobby Portis. He could play 24. He could play 28. He could play 20. He's your typical, GPP play. I haven't really been on Portis this year, except the one time or a couple times that Giannis has missed games. But on a short slate like this, Portis is viable. Don't think I really want to go to Brook Lopez, though. He did get 30 minutes last game, but he only had 14 DK points. He's just not that productive of a player. Now, Pat Connaughton in the same matchup did come off the bench and play incredibly well. He got 31 minutes off the bench, had 35 DK points. I don't think I really want to chase this game, especially with his price coming up. So really for Milwaukee, I think it's just Giannis and Chris Middleton. I think on a short slate like this, Giannis is someone I definitely want to get in. He's my top stud on the slate. 10-9 on Draftkings, really like him. On Yahoo, he's $55. I really want to try and find a way to get in Giannis today. We saw him have a ton of success in the same matchup when these teams played on Tuesday, I believe it was. Had 72 Draftkings points in 37 minutes. These are the type of matchups I like targeting Giannis in, not because Toronto's like a bad defensive team or anything, but just because this is a game we should expect to stay close, and that's when we want to target Giannis. If you look in his game log, I mean, in games that are close and he's playing his 36, 38 minutes, he's been so good. 72, 74, 70, 65 DK points. When he disappoints is usually when there's blowouts or maybe he just doesn't play his full minutes. I mean, he still had some disappointing games this year, but normally Giannis is one of the highest floor plays on the slate, or really just in the league in general. I mean, even on bad nights, you're getting at least 45 to 50 from Giannis. He's still affordable at $10,900. There's actually some decent value on this slate from the Kings that we will talk about. So I like Giannis. He's my favorite stud on the slate. He's the guy I want to try and pay up for today. We're going to have other studs to talk about, but Giannis I think is my number one right now. Chris Middleton I think is viable as well. He was god-awful when these teams played on Tuesday. Had 21 DK points in 38 minutes. I think Chris Middleton, even on a 3-game slate, is going to be low-owned. That makes him appealing. If I were to play Chris Middleton today, I think it would be on Yahoo just because he's small forward, and the small forward position is pretty gross today. There's not a ton of options that really stand out. Like, you have Jimmy Butler you could pay up for. You have LeBron you could pay up for, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to get all the way up to those guys, especially if I'm trying to jam in Giannis. So, Middleton at $32 is fine. I don't really like him that much, though. I really just think on Milwaukee, it's Giannis for me, and not too much else. Even on this short slate, Giannis is really the only guy I have, interest in. So moving on to the next game, the Nets and the Lakers. So this should be a pretty fun one. The Nets are still going to be without Kevin Durant. He has already been ruled out for this game. But Kyrie Irving is expected back. He sat out there last game, but he's listed as probable today, so he is expected to play. With Kevin Durant out, we know who's going to dominate the usage. It's going to be Harden and Kyrie. We've seen Harden have 2 massive games over their last 2 with KD out. The 72-point game against Sacramento, or Kyrie played in that one. And then their last game against Phoenix, Kyrie was out. Harden had 68 DK points in 37 minutes. Harden's playing a ton of minutes this year. If this game's close against the Lakers, which it should be, we should get 36, 38 minutes from Harden. I think I do prefer Giannis on the slate. But obviously Harden is a top pay-up option once again. He's still very affordable, $10,600. I do really like Harden. I think Kyrie's a really good play as well. $8,900 on DK. His price came down $100. Last game against Sacramento, when KD was out, we got 56 DK points in 31 minutes from Kyrie. against his former teammate LeBron. Maybe Kyrie comes out with a little bit of some, aggression here. I don't really know, but I don't think you're not playing Kyrie because of that. You're playing him because Kevin Durant's out, and we know with Kevin Durant out, the usage on this Brooklyn team is going to be dominated by those top two guys. So I think both Harden and Kyrie are obviously great plays today. It's just a matter of if you can fit them in or not. The secondary fringe guys though from the Nets, like Joe Harris, I don't really have that much interest in, especially with Kyrie back. Jeff Green, he had a good game. I believe he came off the bench last game. He played 25 minutes, had 35 DK points. Maybe you could go to Jeff Green on this slate, but I don't really have that much interest in him. He's just been so inconsistent this year. It seems like Jeff Green's either he's either going to give you like 30 plus or he's going to give you like less than 20. He has a pretty low floor. He's shown somewhat of a ceiling though. He's viable, but like I don't have that much interest in Joe Harris. I don't have that much interest in Bruce Brown. Like now that Kyrie's back, I don't like Bruce Brown. TLC is questionable, so maybe if he were to sit, we get like a few more minutes from Landry Shamet. But do I really want to target Landry Shamet on this slate? Not really. Last game he played 28 minutes. He played 28 minutes the game before that. I guess at 3,700, if you're kind of desperate for value, if you're really trying to jam in all the studs on this slate, Shamet could be viable, especially if TLC does wind up sitting. I would assume Shamet gets a few more minutes. If I were to go to any of the Brooklyn bench guys, it would probably be Landry Shamet. I don't really have that much interest like DeAndre Jordan, though. He started last game, played 28 minutes, wasn't very productive, though. There's other centers I like in his price range. We're going to talk about Hassan Whiteside, Marvin Bagley I like a lot today. So, yeah, I think that really does it for Brooklyn. Really, this team, it's just, Harden and Kyrie are obviously the great top two plays here, or they're great plays on the slate. They're the top two options for me. I could see having some exposure to Jeff Green. I could see definitely getting exposure to Landry Shamet if TLC gets ruled out. But I think that does it for the Nets today. Now, moving on to the Lakers side. So for the Lakers, we do know that Anthony Davis is going to remain out. He's going to be out for like 2 to 3 weeks. So without Anthony Davis, that is obviously a bump for LeBron James. At 10,200, I think LeBron's a solid pay-up option, but can I put him ahead of Kyrie, Harden, Giannis? I don't think so. Like, I think I'd have those guys ahead of LeBron. Really, the only reason I would get to LeBron today would probably just be because he helps to fill the small forward position, which is pretty bad. Like, small forward is just really gross today, especially when you look at Yahoo. If you're not paying up for these top guys, like your cheap options at small forward are either going to be like Joe Harris, Pat Connaughton, Bruce Brown, THT. Like, there's just not a ton of guys for cheap at small forward that I have that much interest in. So I could see paying up for LeBron at small forward on Yahoo just because of the position. On DraftKings with, the dual position eligibility with so many guys eligible at small forward, I don't think I'm going to get to LeBron on this slate, even in a really good matchup. Kyle Kuzma completely shit the bed last game. He started in place of AD, played 26 minutes. I assume he starts again today. At 6,700, there's no way I'm playing Kuzma on DraftKings. I think on Yahoo, though, Kuzma is still very affordable there. He's $17. I have no problems playing Kuzma on Yahoo today, but can't get to him on DraftKings at that price tag. But then, like Montrezl Harrell, Dennis Schroeder, I have interest in both these two guys. So Montrezl Harrell last game only played 18 minutes, which was kind of weird given that AD was out. They ran Marc Gasol a good amount. I think Marc Gasol played almost 30 minutes last game, or honestly, he might have played 30 minutes. Let me check real quick. Gasol played 30 minutes last game against Minnesota. I think that was kind of matchup based. They wanted him out there against Karl Anthony Towns. Brooklyn so far this season, they obviously have DeAndre Jordan, but they've been running a lot of small ball. They've been playing Jeff Green at the 5 a lot this year. I think this is definitely a matchup where we could see more minutes come in Montrezl Harrell's way. I don't think 18 minutes, like he's not getting 18 minutes today. He's probably going to get at least 22 to 24. He was really productive last game in a good matchup. This is a good matchup as well. Brooklyn's always been a team you can, beat down low. They've always struggled to big men. I do like Montrezl Harrell quite a bit at 5,900. Now, like I said, there are some other centers I like. We're going to talk about Whiteside and Bagley, who I really like on this slate, but I think Montrezl Harrell is definitely in play. I do like him at 5,900, and I think Dennis Schroeder still remains too cheap on both sides. 5,800 on DK. Looking at his Yahoo price, he's coming in at only $17. Like, Schroeder's just way too cheap, man. Without Anthony Davis, he does get a usage bump. He's going to, play pretty good minutes. Last game, he got 32 minutes. I think today he'll get probably 32 to 34 minutes if it's a close game. He took 15 shots last game, had 39 DK points, 24 points, 1 rebound, 3 assists, 2 blocks, and 4 steals. Now, obviously, the 2 blocks and 4 steals are a bit of an outlier, but without AD, there's going to be more usage available for Schroeder. We've seen him put up some pretty good games this year when AD has been out. It's a great matchup against Brooklyn. Should be a pretty fast-paced game. I think Dennis Schroeder still looks very appealing at 5,800. He is definitely too cheap on both sides, and honestly, him and Harrell are probably my 2 favorite guys to target from the Lakers today. Now, Marc Gasol, he did get 30 minutes last game, but I just don't know if that happens again. Especially against this Brooklyn team that has been willing to play a lot of small ball this year. I think this is going to be one of those spots where we see more minutes go to Montrezl Harrell. So I don't really like Gasol that much. THT only played 5 minutes off the bench, which was just so surprising. I thought with AD out, there'd be plenty of opportunity available for THT. He's incredibly risky. If you want to take a shot on him, he should be very, very low owned. He has upside coming off the bench, but I just have no confidence in his minutes. So really, I think that does it for the Lakers today. With AD out, Markieff Morris should get more minutes, but we only played 18 last game. Even on a short slate, I don't really want to go to Markieff Morris. KCP, he's going to start and play around 30 minutes. Obviously, he has minimal upside. If you're kind of desperate for value, if you're really trying to jam in those studs, I could see playing KCP on a short slate like this. But I think, the guys I'm definitely most confident in from the Lakers today, my two favorite plays are definitely Harrell and Schroeder, and I think, LeBron's fine as well. Kuzma I do like on Yahoo, but that does it for this game. Moving on to the last one on the slate, Miami and the Kings. So this is probably my favorite game to target, especially on the Kings side, because the Kings are dealing with some injuries today. But on Miami, this is a back-to-back for the Heat, so that is something to monitor. I'd assume everyone's going to be good to go here, but definitely keep an eye on that. Goran Dragic, he has been out for a good amount of time now. He's been out for like the last 5 or 6 games. I assume that Dragic is going to remain out today, but this is something to monitor to keep an eye on his status. I assume he's going to be out again, though. So with Dragic most likely out again, I haven't really been on Tyler Hero or Kendrick Nunn lately, but I think both do look very appealing on this slate. Hero's been playing really well lately. He's having a really good game Wednesday night against the Warriors. He got a ton of minutes in their game Monday against the Clippers. He's on pace to play, pretty good minutes off the bench Wednesday. Or I think that was Sunday, actually. Sunday's game against the Clippers, played 41 minutes. Kind of benefited because, Nunn got in foul trouble. But even coming off the bench, without Dragic, we should get over 30 minutes from Tyler Hero. It's a great matchup against a Kings team that, has been playing really fast this year, has been really bad defensively. I like Tyler Hero a lot at 5,900. I think him and Kendrick Nunn both look very solid today. I think I do prefer Hero just because I like his upside a little bit more. I do like him a lot on Yahoo as well. He helps to fill a shooting guard position that is kind of tough to fill. If you look at the shooting guard position on Yahoo, you do have Kyrie at the top. Maybe a bit tough to pay up for him, especially if you're trying to jam in Giannis. You do have Fred VanVleet, who if Kyle Lowry gets ruled out, I'm probably going to try and get Fred VanVleet in at shooting guard. But I think Hero at $21 does look really good on Yahoo. He looks like a really good play overall on both sides, assuming that Dragic does remain out today. Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, I think are both solid options. Will I be prioritizing either one? I don't think so. I think today, I really like Giannis. I really like Harden. I like Kyrie. I think those are guys I'm going to prefer over Butler and Bam. But Butler and Bam in a really good matchup against Sacramento obviously give you a ton of upside. Just think there's other guys I prefer in their price range. Obviously, though, if you're playing a lot of lineups, you're probably going to have exposure to these two guys, especially on a short slate like this. But then, like the fringe guys, I just don't know if I have that much interest in like Kelly Olynyk or Duncan Robinson. Olynyk's going to continue to start, probably play, I'd say around 30 minutes. He only got 14 last game. I think that was a bit of a fluke. Most nights we're going to get 28 to 30 minutes from Olynyk. It is a good matchup. He does have potential, but at 5K, like Kelly Olynyk, he's been solid. He's been getting you about 26, 28 points a night, but it rarely feels like you need Kelly Olynyk to win. Like he's not showing a ton of upside, which obviously lowers my interest in him. Duncan Robinson, he's been so inconsistent this year, but obviously we know he is a scorer, and in a fast-paced game against the Kings, a bad defensive team, like Duncan Robinson should definitely have more opportunity than normal to get up, plenty of shots here. On a short slate like this, I don't mind taking a shot on Duncan Robinson. Am I very confident in him? Not really, but he can get hot at times. He's having a pretty good game Wednesday night against the Warriors. Maybe he can keep that momentum up heading into Thursday night's game. So I think Robinson's viable, but really that does it for the Heat for me. I think if Dragic remains out, my two favorite guys to target from Miami are going to be Tyler Hero and Kendrick Nunn. And I think Butler and Bam are obviously really good plays as well. It's just I'm not prioritizing them on a big slate like this, or on a short slate like this. Even on a short slate like this, I think there's other studs that I'd rather get to, like Giannis, Harden, Kyrie, who we talked about. But moving on to the Sacramento side, so I think today Sacramento on this 3-game slate, Sacramento is the most appealing team to me, given that we've already gotten word that Harrison Barnes and Rashawn Holmes are both going to be out for the Kings. So we'll just go ahead and start off with the guys that I think benefit without Barnes and Holmes. I think without Barnes and Holmes, we should see Marvin Bagley most likely start at center. And if that's the case, if Marvin Bagley is starting at center, I think he's probably one of the best plays on the slate. 4,800 on DK is just way too cheap for Marvin Bagley if he is going to be starting at center. And on Yahoo, he's also too cheap over there, $15. look, Bagley, he's been incredibly frustrating to roster this year if you have rostered him. You know, he's shown upside, but Luke Walton just never wants to give him the minutes. I think right now, like, with no Holmes, with no Harrison Barnes, like, they really have no choice. I think Bagley should play around 30 minutes today. He was on a minutes limit last game and only played 21 minutes, but he was insanely productive. 30 DK points in that time. He should be very productive once again. He is someone that can be productive when he does get time, and like I said, Luke Walton really has no choice. I mean, they're down 2 starters. They're going to have to play Bagley around 30 minutes, I'd assume. They really don't have a choice now, and you know, Bagley, like I said, he can be productive when he gets minutes. He's a pretty productive player, averages about a fantasy point per minute. He's only 4,800. If we're going to be getting around 30 minutes from Marvin Bagley today, which is very possible, could wind up getting more. He's one of my favorite values right now at 4,800. I definitely think he is way too cheap on this slate. And with Rashawn Holmes also out, that does benefit Hassan Whiteside. We saw last game Whiteside played 24 minutes off the bench. That was with Rashawn Holmes out. That was a game, though, where Harrison Barnes played. So maybe with Harrison Barnes out, we see maybe Whiteside pick up a few more minutes. But I think if he winds up starting, Whiteside's the best value play on the slate. If he winds up coming off the bench, I still think he's a really good value just because of the massive point per minute upside that he has. I'd assume we get around low to mid-20s in minutes from Whiteside again. Normally, I don't like targeting guys that are only going to play like 22, 24 minutes, but Whiteside's just he's just a different man when it comes to, production. I mean, this is someone that can go out there and put up literally 40 fantasy points in 20 minutes. We've seen him do it before. Obviously, he did it against Brooklyn. He's a great scorer, like under the basket. He can just get a ton of putbacks. He's always around the rim, grabbing rebounds. He can block a ton of shots. They're going to need some size out there against Bam Adebayo, so I definitely like Whiteside here. I think with no Barnes, with no Holmes, Whiteside and Bagley are the 2 biggest beneficiaries, and I think they both look like really, really good value plays on the slate, and I have no problems playing them together on a short slate like this. Now, last game with Rashawn Holmes out, we did see them actually start Corey Joseph, so they went with De'Aaron Fox, Corey Joseph. They had Bagley at center. They started Harrison Barnes and then Buddy Hield, so I don't know if Corey Joseph is going to start again. He played 31 minutes in the starting lineup and was pretty productive with 32 DK points. He is very cheap still at 3,900. If Corey Joseph does wind up starting again, which is very possible, I think he's actually a pretty good value play, probably the best value under 4K right now. I do have a lot of interest in Joseph if he starts again. Without Harrison Barnes, there should be more minutes available from Nemanja Bjelica, but last game he only played 5 minutes, which was just a huge concern, just a huge shocker. I mean, he had played 28 and 27 minutes the 2 games before that, and then last game he only played 5 minutes. That was with Bagley back, but still Holmes is out. Obviously, Bagley's going to play today, but Holmes is also out, plus Harrison Barnes is out. My best guess is we get probably 18 to 20 minutes from Bjelica, maybe more if he's playing well. At 3,800, I think he is someone you can take a shot on in tournaments. But if Glenn Robinson starts, I don't have that much interest in him as a value play. He could maybe start in place of Harrison Barnes, but he just offers really minimal upside. Not someone I really want to go to. Same with Jeffries. They started Jeffries earlier this year, and he didn't really do much in his start. I'm assuming that their starting lineup is probably going to be Bagley. It's probably going to be definitely Fox, Hield, and Bagley, and then who replaces Barnes, who replaces Holmes is the big question. I think likely it's going to be Halliburton and Joseph, but maybe they'll probably start Glenn Robinson. So it's probably going to be Fox, Joseph, Glenn Robinson, or Fox, Joseph, Hield, Glenn Robinson, and Bagley. That's probably going to be their starting lineup. But like I said, if Glenn Robinson starts, he offers minimal upside, so I don't think I really want to go to him. But with Bagley starting at center, he really benefits and is too cheap. With Whiteside getting more minutes off the bench, he is way too cheap. Those are the 2 guys I really do like the most from the Kings today. And I think Joseph, if he starts again, is a really good value play. But Buddy Hield, De'Aaron Fox, I think are also in play. They're more of secondary options on this slate. I don't think they're top plays for me. But if I have 6,600 left for my last spot, I'm totally fine playing Buddy Hield. Obviously, I'm totally fine playing De'Aaron Fox. I just don't know if those are guys that I'm really going out of my way to play. Now on Yahoo, Buddy Hield is pretty cheap over there, so I do like Buddy Hield quite a bit on Yahoo. He's $20, and I do like Whiteside as well on Yahoo. He's $14, I think. Whiteside points per dollar wise probably looks like the best center on Yahoo as well. But yeah, I'm fine with Hield on Yahoo. Not as much on DK. Fox is a solid play. Halliburton should get more minutes, whether he starts or comes off the bench. He was pretty bad last game, but if we're going to get 32, 34 minutes from Halliburton at 6K, definitely viable, but I think that really does it for the Kings. I think my top plays when you factor in salary are probably going to be Bagley, Whiteside, and Joseph, assuming he starts. Those are my favorite plays from the Kings today. I think this is definitely the team that is loaded with value. If we're looking for value today, it's going to come from Sacramento. So I think that does it for all 3 games today, guys. I think we broke everything down team by team. Hope you guys did enjoy this breakdown. I do appreciate you watching. If you did enjoy, hit that like button down below. Hit the subscribe button as well. Be sure to click that notification bell so that way you do get notified every time I upload. You also get notified every time I do go live. And like I said earlier, I'll be live streaming this afternoon, Thursday afternoon around 4:30 Eastern time. So if you're able to tune into the stream, I will be live then. We'll be able to answer all your guys' questions. We'll break down the slate once again, answer questions, talk through the news, just chill for about an hour and just kind of talk through the slate. But yeah, hit that like button, guys. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my Patreon content, link down below in the description as well. But yeah, good luck tonight, guys. Appreciate you watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.